Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning. Oh, I forgot to put my microphone on. Hey, Becca Chew. How are you? Can you hear me, or do I need to put the microphone on? My tripod is crooked these days, and it drives me crazy. Becca Chew, can you hear me? I'm going to guess you can hear me, so I'm not going to put the microphone on. I'm doing pretty good. I'm hanging in there. How are you, and how are your kiddos? Okay. Let me put it on. It's going to take just a second to connect, but I will get that put on. It'll connect in just a second. Come on. Hi, LJ. Hi, Max. Wow, that's great. Is the microphone on now? It's still blinking over here, but can you hear me? Hi, LJ. Hi, Max. Hi, Riker the kid. I did have a good day so far. It's still pretty early here, but so far so good. How are you guys doing? Where's everybody from? I'm trying to get you situated, sorry. Where are you from, Max and LJ? Becca, that's exciting to get your kids finally evaluated. Fingers crossed that the evaluator knows what they're doing, because so many don't. They just want to write little kids off. You are from, I'm not great at flags. Is that a Britain flag? England? I really need to study my flags. From Africa. Nice to see you. Where about in Africa? The UK? See, I should have known that. Why don't I know this? I'm a homeschool teacher to my son. I should know my flags. I told him just the other day we need to study the flags some. It's so windy here. Everything is dry. My shirt is probably from Academy Sports. Urchin from Afghanistan. Welcome. Everybody's welcome. And I really don't know where that flag is from. It's also really small. It's hard to see it. You went swimming and on the laptop? That sounds really fun. I love swimming. Hi. Becca, can I put you as a moderator? Are you going to be here for a little bit? I am from the United States, in Texas. I'm good. Just a regular day. My son and I did homeschool, and I've been cleaning the house. Is it great in Texas? I guess. I am 51. Why? Why am I live for streaming? To hang out and chat and have fun. Waiting on a few of my friends so we can talk about Vlogmas. What would you like to chat about in the stream, Messiah? It is 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I look young? Thank you. A lot of people tell me I look young, but my hair is really gray and white. Maybe on camera it looks blonde, but it's white gray. How do I know about live streaming? Who doesn't know about live streaming? My grandkids are little and my 11-year-old knows about live streaming. Everybody knows about it here. Well, thank you. I'm glad you like my hair. I get it from my mom and my dad. Yay, Vlogmas. Becca, I have a question. For my longer videos that are like 15 or 20 minutes long, what time of day do you mostly watch those? Karen, I'm not in a house. I'm in a shed, actually. This is where we homeschool. So, no, I haven't considered remodeling it. We already did. We took a regular old metal shed and we turned it into a homeschool room. Max, my son doesn't like any games like that. He plays Pokemon and Legend of Zelda and things like that. Hi, JJ. Around 2 p.m. your time, and it's currently 12. So about 1 p.m. Okay. Messiah, there's people a lot older than me that live stream. You play Roblox. If you guys aren't interested in my chat, then you can leave. Yeah, nobody's asking you to stay. No, I do not sing. You would not want to hear that. Yeah, anybody not interested in the chat, you are welcome to leave. You don't need to stay here. I'm just waiting for a few more of my actual followers to come on so that we can talk about Vlogmas and talk about things with the channel. Raj, do you sing? Was Raj the name of the guy in the Big Bang Theory? Hi, Moss. Welcome, welcome. Hi, Omar. The topic, right now we can talk about whatever you want, but we are going to talk about the reason I changed my channel name. And we are also going to talk about Vlogmas. How many people watch Vlogmas videos? Let's start the Vlogmas conversation. How many people even know what Vlogmas is, and how many people come back every day and watch Vlogmas videos? Hi, Amir. Max Amir. Don't I have to work? No, I've done my work for the day. Why would I get fired? I'm at home. Here's my thoughts on Vlogmas. I think I would enjoy doing Vlogmas, but I don't really want to overwhelm myself trying to make some kind of Christmas content every single day from December 1st until Christmas. I don't want to spend, You know, it probably takes me, between editing and videoing and all of that, it probably takes me a good 3 to 5 hours for every video. I don't want to do that if the videos aren't actually going to get watched or enjoyed. And I don't want to, I've never tried to make up content or do things around the house just to film. I want all of my content to always be organic. It's actually our everyday life, the things we would do with or without the camera around. So I want to keep it organic and I don't want to force it. So what I was thinking about, since I'm such a small creator and I don't really have, you know, that many people that watch every single day yet, I'm thinking about doing Vlogmas in shorts. Does that sound fun? Is it something you would watch? It would be very easy every single day from December 1st until Christmas on the 25th to do a short video of something pertaining to Christmas. Okay, my channel name is Life with Javada. It used to be Life with Java. Java is my nickname. A lot of my friends call me Java because I drink coffee all the time, and obviously it's part of my name. But the algorithm, the YouTube algorithm, was constantly confusing my channel for computer channels. Thanks, Moss, for that information. When people would search for Life with Java on YouTube to try to find my channel, they would have to scroll through 10 or 15 pages of JavaScript because Java is a type of computer code, which I knew that, but I didn't understand the algorithm when I made that name for myself. There's a gnat in here. Hi, Cammie. So I changed it to Life with Javada because if you search for Life with Javada, it immediately brings my channel to the very top. My channel is the only channel with that name. Now, there is obviously a singer named Javada, and it does bring up a lot of his content too. His or her, I think it's a male. But it puts my channel name even above his music. So I really want the algorithm to understand that I'm not a computer. My content has nothing to do with computer or work or anything like that. My content is a lifestyle channel. It's all about my life. It's about homeschooling. It's about autism. It's about taking walks at the park and curriculum and cooking and cleaning, and it's just lifestyle. So I want the algorithm to pick me up and actually show me to people that actually want to watch a lifestyle channel. I don't need a marketing plan. I don't really plan to market myself. I just want people to have the opportunity that are interested in lifestyle to actually see my channel. And then they can choose to watch it or not. I'm not really going to market myself. Hi, Nanette. Teacher Sipe. Hey, how are you? Teacher Sipe is all the way from Botswana. Thank you, Becca. What time is it in Bots? Probably, I think you're about 8 hours different from us. Is it 9 p.m.? Moss is all the way from Japan. Woohoo, look at us. We are around the world. It's so nice to see you guys here. Hey, Jessie. I'll answer to Granny. That's actually what all the kids call my mom here, but 21. Oh, I think I was right. It's 9:13 in the evening. Daniel, my first thought is just to block you, but I'm going to leave you here as long as you can participate without causing any drama and without, I don't even know. If things go well, you can stay. You're welcome to stay. If not, you're out of here. Carly, you did your hair modeling. I'm so proud of you. Was it fun? Somerset, Kentucky. Nice. We were talking about channel name changes. I changed my channel name because Java is a type of computer code, and the algorithm was sending my channel. The algorithm was sending my videos to the most random channels ever, because you can see when you go on YouTube Studio, you can see what videos are promoting your video. Not a single lifestyle channel was promoting my video. Not because they do it, it's the algorithm. Not a single autism channel, was showing my channel. It was all the most random stuff. So hopefully with the channel name, hopefully with the channel name, hopefully within a month or so, the algorithm will figure out who I am and what I am, who to show my videos to. Thank you, Daniel. I'm not here to become big and popular. I'm just an old, boring lady, and I know that. I'm a mom, a wife, and a nana. I'm not for everybody, but to have a chance of even finding, my tribe. Look at all of you here: Teacher Sipe, Becca, Daniel, Carly, Moss. Look at all this community that we've created. There are other people out there that need to be in our community too. There are other people out there that want to learn more about autism or learn more about homeschooling, or there are lots of people out there that like to watch people clean their house and cook a meal and things like that, which is all the things I do. But to find the people in my community, the people that we want to welcome into our tribe, we have to be put in front of the right people, if that makes sense. So don't get me wrong. If I never have another subscriber besides the ones that I have right now, I love each and every one of you, and I appreciate every one of you that are here every week watching my videos. I love having the conversations we have. I love going live. I wish, honestly, I could go live all the time. It just doesn't fit into my daily schedule very well. So it's fine if we don't grow, but if there are other people out here that need us kind of the way we needed each other, I want them to be welcome here and to join this community. And then, of course, the other thing, I wanted to talk about was Vlogmas. Moss, you think it's a good idea to do Vlogmas in shorts? I think it would be easy. It won't be very much editing. It won't be, super long videos. It'll be 3 minutes or less. Maybe I'll show you me and Jackson doing a few Christmas crafts just in a very 3-minute or less video. Maybe I'll show you, I plan to make some tea that I'm going to package up and give to my mom and my dad for Christmas. It's a special kind of tea that we like to make every winter. I'm going to show Jackson how to make, hot chocolate and put whipped cream on it and sprinkle some peppermints on it or something. It'll be just little things like that I could easily show. I can show you a couple of ornaments, off of our tree that have some kind of meaning to us. Thank you, Teacher Sipe. Keep your videos coming too. I watch every single one of them. And how are the girls? I know they're working so hard at school. Teacher, are you going on vacation for December? December's your birthday, isn't it? And I know you usually go out of the country. Thank you, Nanette. I think I can just title it like Vlogmas in shorts, and then day 1, Vlogmas in shorts, day 2. And I just think it'll be fun. It'll be a way to connect every day, but without, without I don't think I'd be the only one overwhelmed if I put a video out every day for 25 days. I think even you guys, you're not going to watch every video for 25 days, and I don't want anyone to feel obligated or feel like they get behind or anything like that. The girls are good. I really like watching them cook, and it's been really fun watching them try some American foods. And if you guys aren't subscribed to Teacher Sipe, she shows life in Botswana, Africa, even all the way back years ago. Gosh, teacher, how many years have I been watching you? For a very, very long time. She shows how to cook over an outdoor fire, and she shows how they do their laundry by hand, and, so many fun things. And a couple of weeks ago, somebody sent Teacher and her family some money to go and buy some American type food to try to cook and to try. And they bought their first ever box of ice cream, like ice cream on a stick, like popsicle looking ice cream. And just to see the joy on their faces, I loved it. Teacher, I loved watching you eat that ice cream. You know, so many of us take those things for granted. Daniel, that's a good idea. And actually, I made a cooking video with Jackson one time and I posted it. And after about 15 minutes, I decided to take it down. I will try to make another one. Here's my fear. Okay, first of all, Jackson has ARFID, and Jackson has a lot of sensory issues. So not only does he not eat any of the food I cook, he doesn't really eat food that is cooked, period. He eats food that is heated up from frozen, which is typical of kids with ARFID or sensory issues because the texture never changes, the flavor never changes, the looks never change, the smell never changes. And I have these, even the times and the methods that we cook them down to a science. And if it's any different, he won't eat it. Actually, was it last Christmas or the Christmas before? We had to get a new microwave because our microwave broke or it went out. So we bought a new microwave. And for about 2 months, Jackson wouldn't eat any of his normal food because I couldn't, the cook times were different and it came out a different consistency or a different temperature, or I overcooked things and they were not the same. So cooking is very, very hard with Jackson. I do want to try some, but my fear is that when Jackson's anxious, Daniel, you might understand this. Anxiety in children sounds like anger sometimes. When Jackson talks, he always sounds angry, or he sounds like he's being rude, or he sounds like he's kind of telling me off sometimes. And I know he's not doing that, but I will never, ever, ever post a video that shows him in any light that I think people would have a misconception about him, which is why I took that video down, because it looked like he wasn't happy and he looked like he was angry and being rude. And I don't want anyone to think that of him, because my son is the furthest thing from a rude child or a disrespectful child. Do these things come out of his mouth? Yes. But does he intend them to be that way? Absolutely not. It's anxiety and it's sensory overwhelm. And I understand that, and other autistics understand that. But I have to protect his dignity and his pride. And if he's going to be on camera, he has to want to be on camera. And as he gets older, and if he ever watches these videos or people come across these videos, I want the true Jackson to come through. And I don't want to stand there the whole time and explain why he's acting like this or why he's saying this. So we will work on a cooking video. We will start with the hot chocolate because hot chocolate is something that he will like. It's something we can make within literally like 5 minutes or less. And he won't be sensory overwhelmed at all because he likes hot chocolate. And he also will know that he can either drink it when we're finished or not drink it when we're finished. I don't care. But he can crush up a candy cane. He'll like that. He can help mix the hot chocolate. And then I saw that there's some, you know the whipped cream in the bottle? Is it Cool Whip or whipped cream that sprays out like the Ready Whip? I saw that there's a peppermint flavored one. And Jackson doesn't usually like Cool Whip. But as you know, he likes things that are peppermint. So I think I might get a can. And even if I put it on mine and he doesn't want it on his, or if he puts it on his and he doesn't like it and we take it off, that'll be fine. So we'll start with that, Daniel. I have ordered the stuff to make a sensory bottle. Actually, two kinds. If you watch the video of him at his neurologist's office, yes, teacher, hot chocolate is really good. With water or milk. I make it with water from the Keurig, but then I always put enough milk in it to where it's not too hot. So it's kind of made with both. What was I going to say? Oh, at his neurologist's office, she has a bottle, like a water bottle about this size, and it's full of rice, but then it has those little things in it that you can find. It has like a thimble, and it has a Lego, and it has, bye, Moss, have a great day. It just has little various things, and as you roll the rice around and you roll the bottle around, you can find the different things. So I have ordered a bag of rice that was $1 because I don't want to waste money, you know. But I'll pay $1, and then we have some little Christmas things, and Jackson can find some other household things, so we can do that together too. So yeah, we're gonna try that. I think Vlogmas and Shorts will be fun. Daniel, I think I already know Maz's answer. Teacher, I'm trying to figure out what is the best. Bye, teacher. Have a wonderful evening. Give your family some love for me. I'm trying to take a poll of anybody and everybody here that wants to answer. When you go to watch a video that's a 15 or 20-minute video, like a longer form video, what time of day do you generally watch? I'm trying, as you have noticed, I have played around a little bit with what time I've been releasing my uploads. For the longest time, I did 2 p.m. And then for a while, I tried 11 a.m. And then the last couple, I tried 8 a.m. Like I said before, I'm trying to figure out the algorithm. I don't want to change things too quickly or too much. I want to give things like a month to try them. But I think a good starting point would be to figure out the people that actually watch my videos. What time of day do you watch them? Now, there is something on YouTube Studio where you can go in and you can look at that. But because I post so many shorts, I think my time is a little off on there, because short videos, the only time to get really good views on a short video is to post them late at night or at 6 o'clock in the morning. 12:25. So you're about an hour earlier, Daniel. Bye, Adam. Thanks for being here. Thanks for stopping by my channel, Adam. What else were we going to say? Becca said about 1 p.m. for her. Let's see. Nanette, I think you're usually on YouTube and stuff in the evening, right? You're like me, when you kind of wind down in the evening, you're ready to chat, things like that. I live in Texas. What else would you guys like to talk about? Give me some other video ideas, not necessarily for Vlogmas. I still want to do... I live in Texas. I still want to do my regular content aside from the shorts, because the shorts are going to be seen by a lot of people that aren't really actually going to come to my channel and enjoy the longer video. I am going to create, probably today in a little bit, but you won't see it for a couple of weeks. Okay, Nanette. And I know your time is earlier than my time. So if I release at 1 or 2 in the afternoon, maybe I should have just stuck with 2 o'clock. If I release then, it's close to the time that you're about to be on too. Oh, wow. What kind of work does your husband do, Becca? Sometime in the next couple of weeks, you'll see a video. You know, I can finally talk about this. I almost said it on the last live, and I was like, no, I'm going to mess up our video or thing. I did get a haircut. I'm trying to grow the back out, and I'm trying to grow this part of the top out, but I got the sides shaped up. Now that we are finished with the complete state study, before I put all of this away... Oh, that's a great job. Before I put all of this away, we'll do it again in a year or two, but before I put everything away, I'm going to do one more curriculum video that shows. We had a lot of views and a lot of comments and a lot of interest on our state study. So I want to do one video of everything we use to do the complete state study, and then I will put all of this stuff away, and we'll do it again either next year or the year after. Jackson wants to do it again in the future, and I think that'll be a great idea, because we'll forget a lot of the fun little facts. And we are also going to do the shorts probably starting in January. Yeah, I follow the Sebastian Roger case too. I'm going to keep the book out that has all the state jokes, because starting probably in January, we're going to do also a short series of the joke for each state. So I have that. I will have that coming up in the next couple of weeks. And I don't know what else we'll have coming up. Probably some decorate with me. I am so ready to take my Thanksgiving decorations down, and you're probably going to laugh when you find out why. My house needs dusted really bad. I've told y'all before, it is very, very dusty here. My living room needs dusted horribly, But I hate having to move all the knickknacks, dust them all off, dust the whole thing, put everything back because literally 2 days later it needs done again and I'm over it. So it's really dusty in there. So I want to wait until I take all the fall stuff down, dust it off, put it away, and then dust my living room really, really good. And then I will probably do a few videos of decorating for Christmas. I'm sure Jackson's going to want to decorate in here too. It is so dusty here. And as you've seen on my videos, we live right by a stop sign. So we have a side street this way and a side street this way, and we're at the intersection. So we get not only the wind that whips around both ways, because you know it's always windy here, but then the cars as they go by, you know, they blow up the dust and it just comes in the house. It's bad. We also need new carpet, and I think the carpet holds in a lot of dust. Even though my vacuum cleaner does a great job, and like it fills the canister between the hair and the dust. Logan, I am autistic and so is my 11-year-old son. I want to be Kira. Are you Kira or do you want to be Kira? Who are you really? And welcome, Logan. Where are you guys from? I know Becca has Thanksgiving plans. Nanette, do you have Thanksgiving plans? Hi, Hussein. Ooh, from Melbourne. Nice. How's the weather there? How's life there? I don't think we have any Thanksgiving plans. I might. It's sunny. It's sunny today here too. It's also very windy, but it is sunny. Just happy in yourself. It might just be me and Jackson here. I really don't know yet what we're going to do. If it's just me and Jackson, I'm definitely not cooking anything fancy. My daughter Keisha will be in town Thursday. What is today? Tuesday? She'll be in town Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So if I decide that we're not doing anything for Thanksgiving next week, she probably doesn't have anything to do once she goes back home. So we may do something together. We'll see. Oh, you've been getting some rain? We desperately need some rain. I had a guy, we have a lot of people that walk our neighborhood and ask, you know, if you need your yard mowed or whatever. And I had a guy come and mow our front yard yesterday, the front and the side. He did a great job. He did really good. He even took a shovel and edged, you know, the sidewalk and stuff. But everything's just dead. It's nothing but big fat sticker plants and they're just dead. We need some rain. It won't be long till we get snow. Now, when I was a kid here, we got a lot of snow. I can remember several times that school was called off because we had a blizzard. And I mean by blizzard, within one day, we had feet of snow. We don't get snow like that here anymore, but we still get enough to cover the ground and play in it a couple of times. It usually melts off within a day or two. Do I feel alone sometimes? Okay, here's a question for you. Or there's a difference of feeling alone and feeling lonely. Feeling alone, I think everybody feels alone sometimes. Feeling lonely, absolutely not. I love to be by myself. And I'm not alone. My son is here all the time. My husband's here when he's not at work. I never feel lonely. I love to be by myself. I love to have quiet time. I love to have time to do things that I want to do. So, no, I never feel lonely or alone. I'm good, Pri. How are you? You get a little lake in your backyard? A lake full of mosquitoes? That's all I can think of with standing water. What are my views on immigration? You know, I say everybody's welcome here. I think there's a way to get here and a way to not get here. But I think everybody's welcome here. Anybody that wants to come here and enjoy the freedom of working and owning a home and making a nice life for yourself, Welcome. What are your views on immigration? You know, what do you think about people coming into your country and living there? I am in the United States. Where are you from? Abhinav, sorry if I did not say your name right. And Preetchakwar. Well, welcome back, Nanette. You know, I prefer not to really talk about any political type things on my channel. Everybody's welcome here on my channel. Everybody can have their own opinion. My opinion is different from everybody else's is different from mine, but we can all still be friends. Abhi. Siliguri, West Bengal. I don't know where that is. Let's take down this globe. Let's have a lesson. Can you see this? Tell me when I get close to where you are. I have never been to Canada. Tell me when I get close to you. I'm going to figure this out. Where is West Bengal? India. Okay, I know where India is. Well, I could find it if I looked. I don't know where it is without looking. Let's see. There's India. I love snow, Daniel. There's another lady I follow on here that has a channel really similar to mine, and she's from Canada. And she takes a lot of walks like I do and kind of just shows the area where she's walking, and I love it. But I haven't seen the really, really big snow yet. Here's the United States. Here is, pink is Mexico, and right above Mexico is Texas. It looks small here, but it is a very, very big state. And I live way up here at the top. I live close to Oklahoma. Hey, Small Town Riot, welcome. It does snow here, but you know, I was saying when I was a kid, it snowed a lot, and it would stay for a week or two. They would even cancel school sometimes, and we'd play in the snow all day for a few days. It still snows here, but it's melted usually within a day or two, or it's just melted into slush or a sheet of ice. So we usually have 2 or 3 times a year that I can take Jackson out and play in the snow. We drive over, on the videos, if you watch when we walk over by the Botanical Gardens and by the Science, the Discovery Center here, there's a lot of hills over there, and I'll take him over there to sled sometimes. Cami, you already got snow? Did it stick or did it just kind of flurry down? All right, have a great day, Becca. Jackson is really sweet. He is a very, very kind-hearted, sweet boy. A medical student. Good for you. What kind of medicine are you going to study or practice? Hey, Elliot and Caddy. Give Caddy a good ear scratch for me. What do? I stay at home, take care of my house, take care of my 11-year-old son, and I homeschool him, and I teach him life skills and do a lot of fun activities with him. It's stuck a little bit. I'm doing great, Elliot. Thanks for popping in. My child's name is Jackson. Please say a bottle of water. Okay. Nice, cutie patootie. I've been taking a poll on a couple of things. First of all, if you guys are going to sit down and watch a long form video that's like anywhere between 15, 20, 25 minutes long, what time of day do you watch that video? That's my first poll question for y'all. Y'all, y'all used to be a Texas word, but I hear more and more people from all over the place saying it now. Do you say y'all where you're from? I think it started as a Texas twang thing. This is the homeschool room. This is where we do our homeschool. That's why I have all of the books and the learning activities in here. You say it a lot now, Cammie. I say it all the time. I don't even think about it. I don't even think that I have an accent anymore until we go anywhere or, you know, people on YouTube are like, oh, I love your accent. Elliot, what time is it there right now? Lunchtime like now or dinner time around 6? I think I'll just go back to the 2 p.m. I was trying some different time slots. I was trying to 1940. Man, y'all are making me think today. Homeschool is over. Math time is over. 7:40 p.m. it is right now. So you are 6 hours ahead of us, Elliot. That sounds like a great program, Daniel. It's slow and steady with life skills, you know. And with Jackson, I think with many autistics, sometimes it's 2 steps forward and 1 step back. You know, he'll learn a new skill and he'll learn it really well. Over time, it takes a long time to teach a new skill, but sometimes when he learns a new skill, he forgets an old skill that he had. And then we practice more on that skill, and then he forgets this skill. So, you know, it's a process. It's a long process, but there's always forward progress. Elliot, that's kind of how I am, but I think I have that luxury because I stay at home. I have a couple of channels that I watch in the morning, but I know that they release their videos Monday and Thursday morning at 9 a.m. So I either watch them before Jackson and I do homeschool or I watch them afterwards when he gets busy. But then most of the other channels, I don't watch them until the afternoon when Jackson's on his electronics. That's me time. That's my time. Or in the evening after he goes to bed. That sounds good, Daniel. Yeah, Cammie, yours do go out late at night, but I like that because then when I wake up, I see it. If I wake up before Jackson in the morning, I lay in bed, and the first thing I do when I wake up is I do a Bible study on my Bible app and read the Bible verse of the day and I was doing 2 Bible studies, but I finished one this week, so I need to find another one. But I do that first, and then, you know, I have some time to myself, time in prayer, and then I scroll YouTube or Messenger or whatever until Jackson gets up. Because if I get up and get out of bed and go make coffee or something, he's going to wake up. So I try to let him sleep as long as possible. Because for him, 7 in the morning or 7:30 in the morning is sleeping in. So I want him to sleep as long as he will. My husband is home for 2 weeks and then he's gone for 2 weeks and home for 2 weeks. He actually went to work today. So, but of course Jackson's always here too. Elliot, I have decided that the best videos that people really enjoy the most are the everyday mundane things. The videos that I make where we're actually doing something extra, or I'm like, oh, we're doing something, let me show a little bit of it on film. They honestly don't get the same view. They get the same view count, but people don't actually sit and watch it. My Tuesday is going really well, Peekaboo. How about you? And where are you from? Yeah, we do too, Elliot. We do the same thing every day. We go take a walk, we do homeschool, we do the regular things, but people don't get tired of it. But Maybe it's because, well, first of all, it's a little easier because I have Jackson here to talk to, but he's really not in a lot of the videos. He doesn't really enjoy being on film unless it's his idea. So I try not to put him on video too much. The thrift video and the Christmas shopping, thank you. I think the Christmas, when my mom and I went to that big sale, that was one of my favorite videos. And even before I posted it, I watched it probably 3 or 4 times just myself. I enjoyed it. But then I released it and it did get quite a few views. I think it has 40 or 50 views. But you know, the average watch time on that video is 1 minute and 30 seconds. So you never know what people are actually going to enjoy. And sometimes I do wonder if YouTube is wrong when it counts that, because I've had multiple people that I know in my everyday life, or I know them here from YouTube, but we message back and forth, that have really enjoyed the video. So I'm like, if there's even 10 of us that watched it all the way through, how was the average view time on it 1 minute and 20 or 30 seconds? Snowboarding sounds fun. My older kids tried snowboarding. We took them 1 year for Thanksgiving to the mountains and 1 year for Christmas to the mountains. I've watched that video more than once. Small Town Riot. Um, I like that video. My older son was a skateboarder. He still would if he had time and wasn't so afraid of breaking a bone and not being able to support his family. But what color is Jackson's switch light? You know, somebody asked me this the other day and I could not answer it. He had a yellow one for years. And just a few months ago, it broke. We paid and had it repaired twice, and it still broke. We had to get another one. And I, for the life of me, you know, with my chiari, that I don't have a good memory, especially short-term memory. And I can't, for the life of me, tell you what color his switch is now. It has stickers and stuff on it, so I don't even know that I really notice. I don't know. I think it's turquoise, but I could be wrong. No, because I have a switch light that I never play on, but the grandkids play it when they come over. Mine is turquoise, so I couldn't tell you what color his is. It might be blue. I'm going to pay attention later, okay? Y'all are going to make me actually pay attention. Here's the other reason I don't know. When Jackson's on his when Jackson's on his electronic time, he either goes in his room or he stays in my room and lays on my bed. So I don't see him, and I purposely don't go interrupt him because that is the only time of day I have to myself without him, except when he's in bed, and by then I'm tired, you know. So I spend that time, usually when he's on his electronics is when I edit my videos. I piece them all together and edit them, and I create the thumbnail. And like I said, that can take 2 or 3 hours or even more sometimes, depending on the video. Hmm. I don't know, Elliot. Can you see? I don't know how much vision you do have. I don't know if you could put, you know, for books, they have those, it's like a clear magnifying paper you can put over it to see the print larger. I don't know if that would work on electronics or not. And I don't know if the colors, the colorfulness of it would help. I don't know how your vision is. They don't work for you. Hmm. And I don't think there's a way to zoom in. It's probably easier to play games on a phone or something that you can zoom into, right? Um, I don't know. I have to think about that. I've never really thought about a blind person playing a video game. My husband's uncle is blind, and he's a very outdoorsy person. He's a mechanic. He walks all over town in the city by himself, no guide dog, nothing. He just walks all over town. Does mechanic work still. It's crazy to me because I have terrible vision, and my vision is getting worse as I'm older. My double vision is so bad, I'm scared to death to drive now. I only drive when I absolutely have to. And I close one eye the whole entire time I drive. That's the only way I can only see one lane and one object of each thing. Um, And then I have another blind friend that has been blind since birth, and she watches TV a lot, but you know, you can watch TV just by listening. And she listens to podcasts. She likes to listen to sports and things like that, but I'm going to have to ask her sometime if she's ever tried playing video games. She has an autistic adult son that still lives with her, and he plays video games all the time, but I don't know that she's ever tried it. I can ask her. I can see if she knows a way that you could play video games. Elliot, I've seen people do that. Yeah, Kami, I don't have nystagmus, which I'm surprised I don't because a lot of people with chiari do. Elliot, several years ago, I saw like a documentary about a boy that could ride a bicycle and everything with echolocation. I wonder if it's the same person. Maybe he's a grown up now. I do have astigmatism. And the vision issues that I have, okay, I do have bad vision, but it can be corrected with my glasses. So, like on the vision test with my glasses, my vision shows that it's fine. But there's some kind of a disconnect between what my eyes see and how my brain reads it, which I'm sure is all related to the chiari. The damage that is done with the pressure in your head from chiari before you have surgery, the damage that is done already is not reversible. So although the brain surgery, the brain decompression is necessary for most people, any symptoms you have up until that point, some of them get a little bit better, but a lot of them don't. So I think because of all the pressure that I had in my head for so many years, I think that's why I have the vision issues, because it's not necessarily an eye issue, it's more of a brain issue. Astigmatism and also eye muscle problems. You know, all three of my kids have eye muscle problems, and I did too as a kid. My older two kids have both had eye surgery, and Jack, since we corrected enough with glasses, he started wearing glasses. He was probably only about 2. And everybody asked me, well, how did you know he needs glasses? Because he sees fine. But I saw the signs because when he would look at, he loved books. When he would look at a book, I would see his eye turn in. And it wouldn't stay for a long time, but it would turn in. And then when he would go to looking at something far away again, they were fine. And every time he would go to focus on something up close, I would see that eye turn in. And I knew because my other two kids had such problems with their muscles that they had to have surgery. And my daughter Keisha, she had a lazy eye and she had surgery, and for years she wore a patch. And every time she'd wear the patch for a while, as frustrating as it was, her vision would get better. And as soon as the eye doctor would take her out of the patch, her vision would shut off again. So she, for many years, was considered legally blind in, I believe it's her left eye. But now, she told me now that when she goes to the eye doctor, she's not quite legally blind in that eye, but she still has terrible vision in that eye and terrible depth perception. But she sees fine out of the other eye, so her vision overall is still good. Is that ringing of the ears? I had that a lot before my decompression surgery, but I don't have it as much now. At 2 with vision issues. We all had glasses at a very early age. Now, my best friend that lives in the town that we used to live in, she has nystagmus. If am I saying that right? Nystagmus. She has that, but she has oh, what is that she has? She has a different neurological problem. Why? I can't even think now. That causes her to fall down a lot and causes a lot of muscle weakness and things. I can't even think. I had glasses in kindergarten. Keisha had glasses when she was 1 or 2, and she was teeny tiny. Back then, they didn't have the cute glasses they have now. She had the only pair of glasses we could find that fit her, and they were not cute at all. Poor girl, and she was so tiny that no pants fit her, and that was before they had leggings. That was before they had the adjustable waist in all the kids' pants. Um, the poor girl, she looks back at her pictures and she's like, I was so goofy looking. And I'm like, man, we did the best we could. There just wasn't any options then. My older kids both just had a birthday. So let me think. They are now 32 and 27. Ages and numbers in general are one of my biggest struggles with the chiari. And I don't know if it's only the chiari or if it's also the autism because, autistic brains have a really, really good memory for some things, and then other things they don't have a memory at all for it. So it may be the combination of both. Congenital cataracts, glaucoma. Elliot, in your opinion, do you think it's easier to be sighted for a long time and then lose your sight? Or do you think it's easier to be born with no sight and just grow up that way? Yes, my kids just turned 27 and 32. Wow, 3 years apart in the same birthday. My older two kids are 5 years apart minus 3 days. So their birthdays are 3 days apart. And this year, my daughter just happened to be in town. You saw that when we went out of town and met the kids for trick or treat and had Keisha's birthday here. She just happened to be in town. So we did a get together at the park for my son and my daughter and the kids, and my mom came. And of course, me and Jackson were there. And we just giggled and laughed because they have shared more birthday parties than they have not. And it wasn't even a real party. We just gathered up there. We had some donuts, let the kids play, and just had a good time. Um, None of us really fit in anybody's house anymore. So when we have family gatherings now, it's almost always at the park or something. Hi, preppy girl. Elliot, that's what I think too. But then part of me thinks if you never had it, you don't necessarily know what you're missing. I don't know. I don't want to sound insensitive, but I just think about it all the time because even in the last 2 years, my vision has gotten way, way, way worse. And I'm not by any means comparing my little bitty struggles to your struggles, Elliot. I know it's not comparable because I still have vision. I can still do what I need to do. Hi, Zainab. How are you? Small town, we did the same thing. We had two cakes. Like all the years growing up, we would rent the skating rink in our small town, or we would rent the community center building, which was just one great big building. And we would have one combined party. We had some amazing kind of parties, but they always had two cakes. We had two tables. They each had their own cake and they each had their own friends. So it was, in essence, two birthday parties, but they were on the same day and doing the same activity. Thank you, Zainab. Daniel, I don't know if I'm pronouncing them right or not. I'm doing the best I can. I've always wondered how people that are born blind, how they can envision colors, which is even harder for me because I have zero pictures in my head, none at all. With aphantasia, I have zero picture in my head. So if I couldn't see the color purple, I would have no clue as to what it was. So I don't know if there's a different. And kind of on the same topic, but completely non-related, did you know some people can taste colors? I am Javada. Who are you? What is it, Daniel? Yeah, some people can hear numbers and taste colors. That would be fascinating. Not that common that someone is totally blind can't see light. I I can I can understand that. Okay, my friend that's completely blind, she has zero vision at all, and it's because her part of her eyes like never formed, I guess. So she has no way to see light or shadows or anything because she has absolutely nothing. You got to be on a couple of panels this past week. That's pretty cool. Bonjour. I wish I knew France or French. I know that word. Bonjour. Okay, I've been talking for a long time. Does anybody else have something they want to talk about? That's awesome, Daniel. Do you watch Sweet Tea with Don B? He's my favorite person to watch with the whole Sebastian Rogers case. Yeah, Elliot, I can definitely see that. People do assume that if somebody's blind, they have no vision at all, but it is a very broad spectrum. Sephora, my granddaughter is turning 12 at the end of the month, and that was on her birthday wish list is she wanted a Sephora gift card. And me being a person that doesn't wear makeup or any of that, I'm like, what is Sephora? Is that makeup? What are you going to buy there? I'm not fancy enough to know how to do that, Daniel, but it's literally Sweet Tea with Don B. Sweet is Sweet, and then I think tea is spelled out Tea. He always has a cup of sweet tea in his hand. He's always drinking sweet tea. And then his name is Don and then a B, like a capital B. There was a lady that worked with your dad, and her vision was like looking through a straw. We, I had a teacher when I was growing up, and my husband had her too. She was our Spanish teacher, and she had tunnel vision, and it was very, very much like that. She was the sweetest teacher, but everybody took advantage of her because she couldn't see anything. She had really, really, really thick glasses on that kind of looked like the bottom of a Coke bottle. I'm sure they were like prism glasses. And then from what she explained to us was she only had a teeny tiny bit of vision and she had zero peripheral vision whatsoever. So she could only see like a straight line in front of her like this. She had to turn her head to see anything. And she still had to get like this close, like to her papers to read them and stuff. She was the sweetest teacher. But there were some crazy boys in elementary. Well, we were in junior high, even crazier boys. There were some boy students that were just awful to her. Okay, not awful enough that they get sent to the office, and I don't know how she dealt with them, but she was a great teacher. Yes, it was tunnel vision. Yeah. I don't remember, but I think she said she had always had vision like that. I'm sorry, Elliot, that school was so hard for you. It seems to be a very common struggle with, I'm sure, low vision and with autism and anxiety and any needs like that. School was the worst thing Jackson has ever been through in his life, and it's been uh, third, fourth, fifth, 3 years since he went to public school, and he still has a lot of trauma around it, and it causes still some really big meltdowns and hard days. And he only went for a very, very short while. Yes. My eye doctor tried to put me in those prism glasses. Sorry, my mind went blank. Elliot, that is hard. That is really hard. I think we must have all been made fun of. I've said it before, the biggest advantage I had in school, the biggest, biggest, biggest advantage I had, because obviously I didn't know I was autistic. I knew I was different. I knew I felt like an outsider, like I didn't understand how everything came so naturally to everybody else. But I lived in a very small town and went to a very small school. We had the same kids in our class every single year from elementary all the way to senior in high school. The teachers there knew your entire family. The kids there, their whole family knew your whole family. Everybody knew everybody. And also in a school that small, they didn't really have a whole lot of special education. They had a class, but it was for the more severely handicapped kids that couldn't keep up with any sort of regular curriculum or things like that. Kids that needed to learn self-help skills and life skills versus education. So, everybody knew me for who I was. They knew me we moved there when I was in the 5th grade. So I was Jackson's age when we moved there. Everybody knew me and just accepted me because I was always the same every year and it was always the same kids. I didn't think twice about their struggles. They didn't think twice about my struggles. And I found that one best friend that I could cling to, and the best friend I had was pretty extroverted, so I would just hide in her shadow or hide under her wing. The teachers knew me, and I was always a decent student. Now, I'm not even going to lie. I cheated my way through 2 different classes in high school, and I am not afraid to admit it. It was algebra and it was geography because I am not good at either one of those. I cheated my way through, but you know what? I made it work and I passed. But overall, English, I was a lot like Jackson. English came very, very natural to me. Business type math or word problem type math came very natural to me, like life math. And any of the other classes we took weren't super important, and most of them were taught by a coach that didn't really even keep grades. So as long as you showed up and tried to participate, you were going to pass. I would have never, ever, ever made it in school like we have here in the city. Never. I would have shut down. I was already the kid that all the way even through high school, being social at school exhausted me so much that I came home and took a nap. And I still, even in high school, put myself to bed at 8 or 9 o'clock at night. And other than that, I was in my room reading. I was very, very introverted. Yeah, I'm not a numbers girl. Oh, don't even talk to me about chemistry. That was the worst class I ever took. Hi, Winnie from Pilo's channel. I'm so happy to have you here. Pilo's like my daughter. I always say she's my African daughter. I love her so much. Welcome, Winnie. I'm so glad to see you here. How did I meet my husband? Actually, my husband is 5 years younger than me, and he used to hang out at my house with my little brother. And we weren't actually friends. Like I said, everybody in town knew everybody, so I knew him. He knew me. But it's not like we ever talked or hung out or played. But he was at our house a lot. My husband, I won't really tell too much of his story, but my husband had a very, very hard life, and he spent the majority of his childhood wandering around town. He had a great big white German Shepherd, and him and that dog wandered the town day and night. So he came by our house a lot. He would come over and play with my brother and eat snacks and just hang out until he wandered on to the next house. So I knew who he was for many, many, many years. But then obviously I got married out of high school and I moved away and I didn't come back until I was getting divorced. Well, when I came back, um, Daniel, I would like to go live once a week, but usually I go live once a week when my husband's at work, and when he's home, I just can't find the time. When we do have time, I don't know, it's busy here when he's home. So anyway, I moved back, got divorced, and through the process of moving back, I had my own house. And I met one of my sister's friends who was really struggling at the time. She was living with her aunt, who was my husband's mom. It's my husband's cousin. Well, I had not re-met him. I had not met him as an adult. So she started staying with me, and she stayed with me, and she finished high school. I told her, you can stay with me as long as you go to school every single day and you finish high school. And she agreed. And so her and I hang out night and day together and had a great time together. I was older. I was in my 20s, but I never really lived a teen life. So I kind of enjoyed that teen life with her. And my trailer house was on my mom's property. So Keisha was just back and forth. She was only 2 years old and 3 years old at the time. So she was back and forth between our houses. We lived on the same property. And my mom was a preschool teacher, and she took Keisha to school with her all the time. So anyway, through being a roommate with my friend, who was my husband's cousin, one day we went over to the aunt's house because even though she was living with me, she still had to go over there and do chores and things. And we went over there, and my husband was there, and we invited him to come to it was kind of like a party, but it wasn't like a big, wild, crazy party. It was, small town life. We were all going to this guy's house because his grandparents weren't going to be home that night. And we just invited him to come, and half the teenagers in town were over there and just hanging out. And he and I have honestly been together since that day. We just kind of clicked. We hit it off. We talked all night long. We spent the next day together. And it wasn't long after that that we were pretty much inseparable from that point. Now we have had a couple of, we've been together for 28 years, 28 and a half years. We've had a couple of rough patches and we've spent some time apart a few times, but, relationships are work, no matter who they are. You've known your husband since he was 12. That's funny that they're friends with your sibling, but you still know them. Lived there for 15 years. Both of my older kids moved from our house. They graduated high school here, but they moved from our house to living with my mom before they actually moved on to live by themselves. It's a really nice step. It's a really nice step out of living at home with your parents versus living in the real world. It's a great step to have another safe house to go, but where there's, I guess, maybe less rules or less expectation. You can kind of come and go as you please and kind of do what you want. You're welcome, Daniel. I never lived with my grandparents, but I went a couple of summers and stayed with my grandma in Colorado. I loved it the first summer and I hated it the second summer. I cried so much. She was so mad at me and called my parents and made them come pick me up. I was a homebody. But I was also the kid that tried to go to church camp for probably 3 or 4 years in a row and cried my way till my parents came and picked me up. I would cry till I was sick. I've always been a homebody. I just kind of went from home with my mom to home with my kids and my husband. Thank you, Cheryl. Nanette, your husband seems like a really cool guy. Oh, let me tell you something, Nanette. Um, every evening before bed, we've been playing trivia together. You can find a lot of trivia on YouTube. And it's something that Jackie and Jackson and I have found that we can do together to fill that gap between dinner and bedtime. When Jackson's like really, really, really hyper, but it's not yet time to go to bed, we have to have something to do. So we've been playing trivia. Well, last night the trivia we were playing was different pictures it would show on the screen. And you would have to guess what this object was. And one of those slide rulers that you were telling us about, remember you were telling us that your husband was fascinated with the slide rulers. And Jackson and I had looked them up to see what they look like. Well, one of them popped up and he's like, I know what that is. That's a slide ruler. That's what Nanette's husband likes to play with. It was really funny. He is blow your mind smart at trivia. We've done history trivia, which I am terrible at. We've done world knowledge trivia. We've done just regular, like 100 questions every human should know or something. Jackson blows us away with the answers that he knows. I'm telling you, when you homeschool a kid in the way that we do, when it's more of an unschooling and it's a more of learning is fun, learning is in everyday life, we can play these things and do these activities and watch these trivia shows and we're learning and we're having fun and it's that curiosity. He learns so much information. He can answer questions on this trivia that Jackie and I get wrong or that we don't even have a clue what they're talking about. And there are tons of questions that he knows the answer to that he has learned the answer through playing, usually Legend of Zelda or some type of Zelda game, or occasionally through Pokemon. So anybody that says kids don't learn from video games, boy, are you wrong. Your kids are playing the wrong games or you're not paying attention. Yes, Elliot, that's exactly how Jackson was. Ozzy definitely has that autism brilliant brain. He has all this energy that comes out of his body through his little flaps and his, pacing back and forth, but he has all that information in that brain. I bet he knows far more than anybody knows he knows. Carly, you will. You'll keep learning fun. Maybe. I mean, it's possible. I think, honestly, I think he just has that really good rote memory. Most of what Jackson knew at a young age, he learned from cartoons. And Ozzy's the same way. He watches, that's what he watches, that's what he's interested in. It just sticks in his mind. He's very, very smart. And you can tell that he has that visual concept. And Jackson was the same exact way. Jackson was fascinated with nursery rhymes. And so he would watch the Mother Goose Club, or he would watch something called Little Baby Bum, and they would sing nursery rhymes. And on Mother Goose Club, they would act them out. I have a video of him the month that he turned 2.5. And on this video, he's acting out scene by scene and saying word for word, probably 20 different nursery rhymes, just like Ozzy. And about Ozzy's age is when he became fascinated with the alphabet, the sounds, the letters, the shapes, the colors, the numbers. He knew it all. He knew all of it. We were lucky in that he was very verbal. Even by Ozzy's age, he was talking in full sentences. He was very verbal. But you couldn't just have a regular conversation with him. He would talk at you kind of like he does now, but it was purely memorized things. He just made it work. And he still does that to this day. You can be talking about something and he'll say, oh yeah, it's like on the Pokemon scene when they do this, 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 and this. He still relates everyday life situations to the books and the games that he has memorized and that he loves. And if you ever watch, Jackson's not great at facial expressions. I'm not either, and I know I'm not. I'm very monotone, and even when I'm very happy, I don't typically like smile or laugh out loud or things. We're very kind of monotone, even with demeanor. While Jackson recreates faces that he sees people make, and it's animated faces. And even when I, try to take his picture and stuff, he always does animated poses and faces. I think Ozzy and Jackson are very, very much alike. And Kat and Kiwi and I have talked about that many times. Mm-hmm. And with Ozzy, he has all this information in his head, but I don't think it's quite clicked to him yet that he doesn't quite yet have the social interaction with other people. He doesn't have like a back and forth play or a back and forth conversation or a back and forth, let me look at you and see if you're having fun, which is very, very, very typical in autism. So I think he has all this information up here, and I think he could tell it to people. He just doesn't really understand that need yet. He doesn't understand that people would like to know what he's thinking here. Does that make sense to you guys? I think he's brilliant, and I think just within the next year, I think he'll be completely verbal because he has the language. Even his pronunciation is really good for a 1-year-old. He is a very smart boy. I completely understand that, Elliot. Jackson's the same way too. He'll ask me, he'll very point blank ask people, are you mad? Or are you happy? Are you smiling? Because he just, can't really tell yet. He knows that there's something different, but he can't really tell what it is yet. I agree, Nana. Once he starts talking, have you ever heard of a Gestalt language processor? Daniel, I don't like to do private PMs, honestly. I just prefer to keep my social life completely social. Does that make sense? A Gestalt language processor, I had no clue what it was when Jackson was little, but now that I've studied it so much and read so much about it, 100% that's what he was, and I think Ozzy is too. A Gestalt language learner does not learn words. They don't learn little bitty one word things and then learn to put two words together or then learn to put three words together. They learn things in chunks, and they almost always learn it from TV or books or tablet, electronics or books. So one of Jackson's very first things he would say is in my exact voice. First thing in the morning, he would say, "Good morning, Mama." So he knew it was something I had said. I would always say, "Good morning, Jackson." Say, "Good morning, Mama." And he would copy my same voice and my same phrase. from Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse would say certain phrases, and in Mickey Mouse's exact voice, he would say this phrase, or as close as he could get to that voice. Things that we read out of books, he would make it fit the situation. You know, if we were talking about playing with Play-Doh and he knew the scene in his head from Mother Goose Club where they were playing Play-Doh, he would say whatever they said and it would fit the conversation. It was functional language, but it was purely memorized. It's like echolalia, but it's memorized phrases and it's chunks of language. And I think that's why Jackson learned how to read so quickly and why he spells so well, because he never learned it in the typical way of sounding out letter by letter by letter. And he doesn't spell phonetically because he didn't learn phonetically. He learned words in chunks. He learned immediately that this whole word says this, and if he writes it and it doesn't look like the picture in his mind looks, he knows it's spelled wrong and he can fix it. Or he can at least figure out that he needs to fix it because it's not right. His spelling is phenomenal for his age. But he learned how to speak in phrases like that. Echolalia is usually repeated. Like if I say, okay, my 3-year-old granddaughter, she does a lot of echolalia if you see her in my videos. If I say, do you like rabbits? She says, I like rabbits. If I say, are you having fun? She says, I'm having fun. It's a very repeated phrase of what whoever said to her. That's how she answers back. That's echolalia. There is also something called like delayed echolalia, which means it's still echolalia of things you've heard and learned, but you say them afterwards. Like it's still memorized, but it's not memorized in like chunks of language. I don't know how to explain it. Jackson is 11. He does not have a photographic memory. For a while, we wondered if he did, but he does not. Echolalia, yeah, it's when you repeat a sound or when you repeat what someone says. And my granddaughter that's 3, she somewhat makes it functional now because used to if I said, are you having fun? She would say back, are you having fun? Or used to if I would say, do you like rabbits? She would say, do you like rabbits? She would repeat it word for word. She still does the echolalia and she still mostly repeats things that people have said, but she is starting to make it into more of a I like rabbits. Oh, Lord, Elliot, I couldn't remember a 16-digit number if you were going to pay me $100 million. I probably could not memorize it. So you're doing great. But it's weird, randomly weird. This is the autistic brain for you. And also my brain now versus my brain before Chiari and my sensory issues were worse and all of those things. I can remember my very first phone number. You know, when you're in kindergarten, day after day after day, they make you repeat your address and your phone number. Well, I still remember both of them. I have no memory for numbers, really, but those things I can remember. My memory is just not good at all. My whole life, I've tried my best to memorize lyrics to songs, and I just can't. I can remember the tune. I'm very much a tune person. I can remember a tune, I can recognize the tune, I can usually hum you some of the tune back, but I can never tell you any of the lyrics, and I can never tell you the artist. I have zero memory like that. But yet I can spout off super random facts about any of my special interests. Even things that I've read 20 years ago, I can still remember them. And I can even remember if I read it like in an article or if I watched it in a documentary or something like that. So that is very much an autism mind. Daniel, I think a lot of autistics repeat the same words for a long time. And honestly, every child learns like that, but I think autistics tend to carry it over a little bit longer before they develop kind of their own words, their own speech. Jackson talked at an extremely early age, but I was kind of the only person that could understand him, but I was with him all the time. I knew what he was talking about because I knew what, kind of like Cat and Kiwi are. They know exactly every song that Ozzy watches and every cartoon that he watches. You hear it so many times that you know where they got it from, even if you weren't actively watching it. And I think a lot of autistics are very, very into electronics from an early age, but Gestalt processors even more so, and even they depend on it so much more because almost everything that they learn comes from things that they're watching. They have the visual and they have the audio at the same time. They have the repetitiveness of the songs or the repetitiveness of watching the same cartoon over and over and over and over. Oh my gosh, Elliot, I'm going to have that in my head all day long now. Hi, Ahmed. I can't read your writing, but hello. Yeah, Miss Rachel. Miss Rachel is a lot of people's third mom or their babysitter. Um, but you know, you can see now that Ozzy can show some of what he knows, that there's a reason he wants to watch that. There's a reason that he enjoys that more than interaction doing other things, because he doesn't get the same information and the same stimulation from doing other activities. Daniel, that's how my daughter's speech was. Even in kindergarten, she was really, really hard to understand. And we always thought maybe it was her hearing, which it wasn't. And we always thought maybe it was like fluid in her ears because allergies are always so bad here. But her speech was really hard to understand. She almost sounded like she was talking underwater or something. It was weird. Do I think Jackson will be able to live independently on his own? That is the million-dollar question, Elliot. And it's really, really hard for me not to think about it, but it's also really hard for me to think about it because Jackie and I are so much older. I foresee Jackson always needing, at minimum, somebody to make sure that he is eating, somebody to make sure that he has groceries and things that he will eat, and somebody to check in on his finances, and somebody to help him navigate doctors and any kind of social, because he is completely mute around people he doesn't know or in situations that he's uncomfortable in. I hope the AAC device will help with that, and he is working very hard towards that. But even having an AAC device, if you're too anxious to talk to someone, you're more than likely going to be too anxious to really say much on a tablet too. Elliot! I think Jackson will be semi-independent. I foresee him living with maybe a roommate, or I don't know. Our goal is to leave him this house so that if he doesn't become independent enough to move out, he will have this house. There is an extra room in this house. He could have potentially, a nurse come and stay with him, or a good roommate that could help him out a little bit come and stay with him. And in exchange for the room, they could kind of help him in all these other ways that he needs help. Same, Daniel. Oh, I got diagnosed at the age of 50. It was kind of my birthday gift to myself because I had known for years that I was autistic. But in the back of your mind, you always have that, what do they call it, like imposter syndrome or something? So for my 50th birthday, I got myself the assessment. And the guy that assessed me, most of the time they don't use levels anymore. But he put me at a level 2, and he said, I can't believe that you've never been diagnosed before now. But see, I stay home. I've been a stay-at-home mom. I've only worked outside of the home for very, very part-time jobs or for very, very temporary jobs, like a seasonal Christmas job that lasts 2 months and then I'm done. When I'm at home, I'm quite functional. But you put me out of my home, or you put me in a situation where plans change last minute, or people are going to randomly come to my house and I'm not expecting it, or anything. Even my grandkids. I love my grandkids. I love my kids. But if they came knocking on my door and came over, I would probably have a meltdown. Now, I'm not a person that outwardly shows my meltdowns, but you can still tell. Like, I'm more shut down. I completely shut down. I'm not functional outside of the everyday norm as I am being functional at home or on camera or in situations that we have planned out weeks in advance, and I know how to navigate those. There is a lot of people that are misdiagnosed with bipolar or with depression. Bye, Small Town Riot. Have a great day. We've been on here a while, haven't we? There is so many similarities between bipolar disorder or personality disorders, autism, and even ADHD. I've said this before. My husband has ADHD. My husband has a lot of overlapping symptoms that could be seen as autism. But there aren't quite enough of the social differences. I don't know. I think, you know, a lot of people say that eventually ADHD is going to be kind of on the same spectrum with autism. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but my husband has a lot of the same struggles as an autistic person, but I do not believe he's autistic. He is definitely ADHD. And he also has a lot of childhood trauma, which can cause a lot of the same type of struggles too. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, borderline personality disorder and bipolar disorder both. I understand that, Elliot. The warfare strategies. A lot of people ask me if I have ADHD. I don't think I do. I think I just have autism. I am fidgety, but I think it's the autism. Because I can focus. I can do 3 or 4 tasks at once. I can be washing the dishes, and if I need to take a phone call, I can take a phone call. And if I need to switch over the laundry, I can switch over the laundry, and I can still go right back and finish washing the dishes. So I don't have the executive functioning issues that people with ADHD have. Well, ST, I'm sorry. I'm sorry you're not spicy. I'm sorry you're just plain and ordinary. You might, Elliot, you might have ADHD, or you might have sensory issues or anxiety that come out of as hyperactivity. That one, Ginger. Hello, how are you? Where in South Africa are you from? Curtis, I do know how to pick them. You're right. You like cars? What's your favorite kind of car? Joburg. My older son is completely a car person. He likes the little bitty, I don't even know what you call them. They're not really sport cars. You like the fast ones? Do I think it's normal to think you could possibly have split personality disorder? I mean, I don't know. Nothing is out of reach, I guess. I would think that it's probably more of just autism. Do I think Jackson will be able to work? I do think Jackson will be able to work. I think it'll probably be in a very controlled environment and working his own hours and something that holds his interest. Do I think he'll be able to work 40 hours a week? Probably not. But do I think he could do some kind of a job maybe from home or maybe from, you know, we don't really have a family member that has a company, but do I think he could do some kind of work? Yes, I do. Funny enough, his goal when he is old enough to feel like he can have a job, he wants to work at GameStop. Do I think he could do a little bit of stuff at GameStop? Yes. Do I think he could do the whole job and run the store by himself like they usually do up there? No. But you know what? There's no age limit. Just because he's not ready to do something at 16 or 18 doesn't mean he won't be ready to do it at 20 or 25 or 30, you know? There's no age limit. There is no age that we stop growing and developing. I think part-time is ideal. That's what I'm trying to help my nephew get, is to where he could do something part-time. Because every time he tries working full-time, he hits complete burnout and ends up quitting or calling in and missing so many days they fire him. He needs just part-time, just enough for some extra income. Carly, did you enjoy that? I think you'd be good with the elementary kids. What's my opinion on people who self-diagnose themselves with autism? They act and play and do things that people with obvious autism when they're perfectly fine. I don't I don't like to make assumptions about other people, and I don't like to judge other people because there are people of all types out there. But I think if you honestly 100% truly have studied autism in all of its forms and presentations, and you feel like your life is that relatable that you really feel like you're autistic, I think you're more than likely autistic. Um, some people can't afford a diagnosis. Some people, by the time they hit a certain age, they don't really see a need to pay the money or to get a diagnosis. I don't think, okay, there are probably a few people that say, oh, I think I'm autistic, and they really haven't looked into it and they really don't even know really what they're talking about, or maybe they are putting themselves in situations that aren't. But I think probably 95% or more of people that have truly studied autism and believe they are autistic, they are probably autistic. And I feel the same thing about parents when they have a child, even maybe a child that doctors are saying, oh no, they're fine, or oh no, it's just ADHD, or oh no. With Jackson, we were told that he was like, kind of like a genius when he was a toddler. We were told he was a genius and he was just bored, or this or that, or, you know. But if a parent has truly looked into autism and they see these struggles and they've lived these struggles day in and day out for the child's entire life, if they think their child is autistic, chances are their child is autistic, but they may not be recognized as such until they're older, when social expectations become more, or when school gets too hard, or when the sensory struggles get hard. Because a lot of autistic struggles, when you're 1 and 2 and even 3, they're considered kind of normal for children that age anyway. But when they're to an extent that you know is different, like every child flaps their hands. Every child flaps their hands. Every child jumps up and down when they get excited, or most do. But if you have one that's doing that over and over and over repetitively, then there's probably something else going on. Jackson used to spin circles. Spin circles. Okay, every toddler learns how to spin circles, and they think it's really funny, and they do it till they get dizzy and they fall down. But when you have a child that can spin circles for a solid 30 minutes and not get dizzy and just walk away and do something else, there's a little bit more sensory-wise going on there. Do I gym? I don't have the opportunity to go to a gym, but I go for a nice long walk every morning that I can. And I have some very, very small weights that I lift in my house, but I can't lift very much weights because I have had brain surgery and I'm not supposed to lift anything over 5 pounds. When you grow up with a mask, I grew up in a very, very behavioralistic household. For me, because I'm a people pleaser, it wasn't hard. We had very hard and fast rules. This is the expectation, this, and this. If you break any of the rules, you're going to get swats, you're going to get grounded, what have you. Um, but I grew up from a very young age being a people pleaser. I was taught from a very, very young age to put everybody else's needs above my own. That is very, very, very dangerous, and it also is extremely common in female autistics. And even I think a lot of male autistics that kind of pass through the neurotypical world without being diagnosed. I think we've just become really good at masking, but even more so really good at people pleasing. We people watch and we figure out what the situation calls for, and we just make ourselves fit in so nobody will pay attention to us. Sorry, Samuel, I'm not going to say all that. I'll say hi, Samuel. Jackson still spins a lot. Spins and spins and spins. He gets on that dizzy disc and spins for a long time. He'll get on one of these computer chairs and spin around. He has a swing outside that we can twist up and he can swing. I've always stemmed a lot too, but I do it more quietly, I guess you would say. I shake my leg a lot. I have this habit of flicking my fingers all the time. My mom used to get so, she'd be like, why are you doing that with your hand? Why are you doing that? I don't know. I shake my legs constantly. I play with my lip just like Jackson does. I pop my fingers constantly. I bite my nails and all the skin around them. When I was a kid, Jackson does this too now and it drives me crazy. I would constantly rub my shirt on my mouth. I would make my mouth real sore and my shirts were always all stretched out. Um, Not everybody has the great big stems or the more noticeable stems. And some people don't have those stems until they hit puberty, and then their body goes through so many changes and it's so hard on the nervous system. At that point they start stemming the more bigger stems. Carly, you just seem really fun. You seem like the kids would have a good time with you. That's good, Elliot. Hey, friend. Elliot's here and Carly's here. Becca was here, but she left. Nanette's here. Daniel's here, and he's being nice, and he has agreed to participate properly, and he's doing a great job. Daniel, I scratch all the time too. I'm constantly scratching in my head or scratching my legs, which I think part of it's because I have neuropathy and my nerves make me feel like I itch. They make me feel like I have a bug crawling on me. You know what it feels like when a fly crawls across you and you can barely feel it? That's why in all my videos that I'm sitting down, you see me constantly scratching my legs or scratching my face. I have that feeling and it's from my nerves, and it is from the chiari. But I scratch too, and I think sometimes it might be a stem. You wanted to buy. Oh, you wanted to be a teacher? Well, you seem pretty outgoing. I was a substitute teacher for a long time, and mostly I substituted in the pre-K and the kindergarten. It was really fun. And substituting is nice because you're not there all day, every day. You pick and choose what days you feel like working or not. LP, I wouldn't worry. I mean, of course, you're going to think about it in the back of your mind, but life for your kids will be different. If they're autistic or if they're not autistic, you're going to love them the same. You're going to support them very well because you understand autism now and you understand the struggles. So, you know, what was hard for a grown-up when we were kids, it's not going to be hard for our kids. If I would have had Jackson when I had my first two kids, it would have been a huge struggle. I wouldn't have understood him at all. But now that he's helped me understand myself and I see the needs and I understand autism now, I can support him very well, and he has a very nice life. He tells me all the time he's very proud that he's autistic and he wouldn't not want to be autistic. And he loves his life, everything about it. So, yeah. No matter what their neurotype. Honestly, if you and your husband are both autistic, you might struggle more having kids that aren't autistic. You might struggle more being, you know, raising two children that have a completely different neurotype than either one of you. There are things that are hard with autism, but there are also very, very many positive aspects. You know, look at all the singers and actors and scientists and mathematicians, artists. Did I say artists? I mean, autistics are everywhere. Honestly, there's probably as many autistic brains in this world as there is typical brains. It is. It is a disability in some ways. It is very debilitating in some ways, but in other ways it's not. So, and even neurotypical people have things that they struggle with. Bye, Nanette. I think I better get off here too. We've been on here for almost 2 hours. I really enjoyed chatting with everyone, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day and rest of your week. Thanks for coming and hanging out with me. I've been looking forward to this chat all day long. Have a great day, everyone. See you next time.